What's going on? Tristan again with Full Blast Customs. Look what we got here. Today we're gonna be doing a pretty cool video. We're gonna be doing an install on this GMC here, one of our customer Eddie's truck. It's gonna get our 20-inch ring, 8-row wheel lights, plug and play, flash features, all the other stuff that you see on our website it's gonna get. So if you're interested in this video and seeing how stuff is installed, today's your video, and stay tuned because this thing's getting ready to get some wheel lights on it.
All right, cool. Now that we got the truck here in the shop, the next step's just gonna be jacking up one side just so we can get the rim and tire up. Now make sure you jack it up from a spot that's secure. On this truck, we're just going underneath the track bar. Again, it just needs to be up enough to get the rim and tire off. Doesn't need to be too high. Then the next step here is just going to be taking off, in this case, the spike lug nuts. And then we'll get the impact in here and take the actual lugs off.
Now the tires or lugs are all off, tire off, exposing the caliper and rotor. That's what we're looking like. And no, we already pre-loosened the spacers. They were not loose before we did that.
All right, cool. Now we're just going to lower down the jack, set it on the stand.
All right, so now we're to the part taking the rotor and caliper off. Just want to get these off and make sure you put your rotor or the caliper somewhere where it isn't going to be pulling your brake line or causing any damage to it. Next part, just getting this off. I'm just going to move this nicely out the way for now. Rotor will come off. That gives you perfect access to the dust shield. We do it better this way, no rivets or anything. We're gonna bolt them on directly to the dust shield just so if you ever have a problem with the rivets popping, and you know, if you ever have to tighten the bolt up, it's a quick, easy tighten up, no problem. So next up, let's get on to installing them. All right, now that we got the rotor off and the caliper off, we're now gonna take a look at exactly what we're gonna be installing on the truck. Starting off first, we got our 8-row 20-inch ring wheel lights, IEB metal all the way around. Everything's all channeled in, so you don't have to worry about hitting it or any of that nature. Same with the brackets, they're all stainless steel. You won't have a problem. Next up is our module. This is what the wheel lights are going to connect to. As you see, you have different zones. We got zone 1 and we got zone 2 with the plug and play connectors right on the end of it. Leads that hook right up to your battery. You got a positive and a negative and an inline fuse as well, which this is an 80 amp fuse. So if you ever need to get a new one in the future, you can find those quick and easy at Ace. You got the white wire on here. This is if you wanted to hook it up to a switch. Let's say you had it on WizWaz where it's flashing front to back and you turn the switch on, it's just gonna put it to pure white. A lot of guys run these too if you just wanna run the switch without the modes, but the modes won't work unless the switch is off. Also in the kit, you get extension wires. Well, these are just the wires that connect to the wheel lights. If you add onto the kit for the extensions, you can get longer extensions that will, you know, make it reach to the module. But how we run our wheel lights is we don't want to make it too hard. We want to make sure you can pull it off quick, easy, and fast and not have to cut anything. So your wire starts here, and then you get your extra wire, and that's what you would connect to run it up to the truck. So we make it quick and easy. So let's say you had to take your axles off or just wanted to change the wheel lights out to put on smaller wheels. Let's say you had 18-inch wheels. These would not fit with 18-inch wheels. So you would have to take the wheel light off. All the wiring can stay in place. You just unplug it, pull it off, and you're done. So, and that's what this kit is going to include. We're gonna get it done on this GMC now, and stay tuned. All right, now we're gonna get it mounted onto the actual dust shield itself. Now, if you have had wheel lights on before, you can go on the original holes. We're just gonna use one, and we're gonna drill a couple more after that, just kind of line it up. Now, there's multiple different ways to mount these. Now, if you're wanting more light to, you know, get thrown out everywhere, you're gonna take the wheel light and you're gonna flip it this way to where the brackets are hanging outwards towards the truck, and you would put it on that way. That allows the brackets to sit more out on this side, allowing more light to escape on the outside, but you don't get as much light in the inside of the wheel. If you're looking to do more in the wheel, less on the outside, you would flip it around to where it hugs more over the rotor like that. As you can see, it's over top of the the dust shield now, and it's not on the outside. This gives it more light in the inside of the wheel, you know, causing the wheel to light up a lot more. So it just depends on your preference. Either way is perfectly fine. If you want less or more, you know, it just depends on how you mount them. And so yeah, we'll get onto that next. All right, so now we're just gonna get them kind of mocked up onto the truck. Our customer did have holes previously drilled from his previous wheel light, so we're gonna go off those, at least one of them, just so we can kind of line it up and see. We do use bolts with nylon nuts, therefore you don't have to worry about rivets or self-tappers backing out. Yep. Perfect. Perfect there. All right. And we are good on the back, so whenever you're ready. Perfect. Awesome. And as you can see here, these brackets are a little short. What we're gonna do here, on the 20-inch rings, especially the dust shields, obviously you're gonna have, you know, a lot bigger of a ring, so some won't actually reach in some areas. No problem. Go pick yourself up some aluminum. Throw it right on, no problem at all. So now we'll go ahead and get these all marked out and then drill the rest of the holes and get them mounted on and put the rotor and caliper back on and on to the next side. Okay. All right, now that we got everything on, we're gonna go ahead and take our Sharpie or whatever you're gonna use, paint pen. You can use one of the punches too, I forget what they're exactly called. You're just gonna mark it out exactly where you're gonna be. Like I said, the extensions up here too. We're gonna have to make extensions for us, nowhere on those, but down here, we're gonna have to make an extension too, just to get it up there, just a smidge, so we won't mark that one yet. But we'll go ahead and drill this one in. Grab my drill. We'll go ahead and get this all drilled out. Make sure you have the right size drill bit, because these are stainless steel and will break the bit. All right, so now we got our right size. You're just gonna want to drill that hole that you made out. Take your bolt and nuts, stick it on through the back side of the wheel light, bracket. Go ahead and attach it on, and we'll tighten it up. Pull it out towards me. A quick little ugga-dugga. And she's on. As you can see, we only got 2 brackets on, and she's already on there. So next up, we're gonna go ahead and make the extension brackets for the bottom and top, and yeah, get those on. All right, well, it looks like we actually don't need an extension for the bottom, so we're gonna go ahead and mark this one out now. Why we have it here. There's our hole. We're gonna take our pilot bit first. Get that in right. Perfect. Get down and dirty. Hurrah. There we go. Just need a little help. Get a right size bit now. Hole. All right. Grab our bolts up here and place it in. All right. Next up, like we said, just make the top bracket extension, and that is it. As you can see, look, we're already pretty tight up on there on the bottom. All that's needed left is just that top, and we are finished with this side. All right, so now we got our extension piece cut out. So go ahead and slide it on back here. You wanna make sure that you're not sticking too far out, but you're just enough. We'll go ahead and mark a hole right in the middle of here, which is gonna be good. And then we're gonna mark a hole here. If you wanna do two, you can. One's perfectly fine, just because it's gonna go down to there. But if you wanna do one in the top and the lower bracket, that's what it's gonna look like there. And you just put one there, and then this was attached to your dust shield there. So, all right, go ahead and drill the holes out now. You can use the rotor, put it down in here, send it right through to the hole. Go ahead and cut out this rear one too. Lose it now. Cool. And then, like I said, if you want to drill out the other one too, just have extra support brace. That is fine to do as well. Perfect. All right. All right. Now that you got your brackets on, you can go ahead and put your bolts through. On there. Little tight tool there. All right. Hand tight right now. Same here. And once you get your bracket on, then you can make your hole for the bottom on your dust shield. So we at least want to get these on now. All right, now we're gonna get this other hole drilled out. Perfect. Grab your... All right, we're just gonna use white for now, but this is kind of just to help prevent any rust from forming. A lot of times you'll do this before you get everything powdered, so the holes will be pre-drilled, but we're just gonna go ahead and throw some in here just to help with any rust in the future. And then we'll go ahead and slide our bolt through here. And fasten it. Go ahead and grab my wrench if I can find it. Go ahead and get these tightened up. Same with the top ones too. And there you go. There's the wheel light installed, completed. Now next step is to get your rotor and caliper back on, and then you can move on to the next ones. Like I said, great thing about this is wiring can come after install. Throw it down there, run it along your lines for your ABS and brake caliper, and run it up the truck. So next step, onto the front after we put the rotor and caliper back on. All right, next step is to get your rotors and calipers back on. Obviously, you're gonna have 5 brackets around the wheel light, only 4 are gonna fit. These ones, what we do, keep it easy. You can cut them, or you can bend them how we do it, which will allow it to sit perfectly on top of the caliper. So just bend it outwards like that. And the next step, what you're gonna wanna do is slide your caliper back through here first. Probably gonna need a buddy to help you out with this. Then you're gonna go ahead and get the caliper in.
Pull it out just a little bit more.
Yep.
Watch your fingers. All right, now we're gonna kind of curve on in.
Yep.
All right, get this pulled towards me.
Yep.
We're gonna rotate it. Pull that up. You good?
Yep, you're good.
Sounds good. Oh.
Go ahead and get it back here. Actually, pull it out. No, we're good.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm just gonna have to shimmy it back just a smidge.
Perfect.
All right, let's need to come back just a smidge bit more. All right, we're in. We are in now. So now just get your bolts in place in the back. You should be able to just do the top one just to kind of seat it in. And then from there, you know, get the lower one in. So we are now on. So that's what it'll look like after you're all done with it. Rotor and caliper back on. And now we'll go ahead and get everything tightened up on here. With our 17-inch rings, it's a little harder to get them on. What you're gonna have to do is kind of make it to where, you know, you're putting more of the wheel light closer to here and farther on this side, just so you can get that caliper on. But that's why we sell our 20-inch ring kits. Look how much more light you get around there. If we had the 17-inch rings on here, they would probably be about that close to the rotor, which kind of eliminates that inside lighting in a way. With these, it does everywhere to go. So once you get it all tightened back up, onto the next side you go.
All right, now we're gonna go towards putting the wheel spacer on, but usually we like to at least put on some kind of lubricant. You can use anti-seize, but in this case, we're just gonna use some silicone spray by WD-40. We just like to spray them everywhere, especially since you already see there's a little bit of rust. Make sure to get the studs real nice. These things tend to get pretty rusty on these spacers. That's good. We'll just slide this guy on. And then make sure to start these all by hand first. And then you can send them in with an impact, but make sure to double check these with a torque wrench. Pry. Going to torque this down all to spec. So it's going to be 140 for this truck. And just like to do a star pattern. Doesn't hurt to spray a little bit of spray on these as well. But be mindful if you're using a spray to come on back and wipe off your rotor. Yeah. Cool, now that we got that all torqued up and we're ready to go, next step before we put the wheel on is just gonna be getting the truck jack back up, because we did set it on a stand. Perfect. Shouldn't even need to go that much. Yep. Now let's kind of rotate it. Perfect. And then now we're gonna grab all the lugs and we're just gonna start these all off by hand. And now we will follow them with the impact in a star pattern and then with the torque wrench. All right, now we're just gonna hit everything, just snug up the impact. And then we're gonna follow it with the torque wrench. Don't have to go too tight, but just tight enough. Now that we have our torque wrench with all the extensions we have, we're just gonna go and torque this to the same spec as we did the spacers. Try and keep the extension as straight as possible, just so you actually get an accurate torque.
This is a prime example right here on why we recommend doing the silicone on all your spacers, wheels, everything. We're having a problem getting this spacer off right now, so this is something you don't want to happen to you. Keep adding your silicone and anti-seize and anything you can do to prevent this, because this is the only problem we're running into this second. So, but we'll get it off. All right, now moving on to the front, we'll go ahead and get this wheel off. Next step is to get this off. Alright, next we're going to take off all the bolts off the caliper, get the rotor off, and then we're going to go ahead and get the wheel light installed on the front.
Alright, so on the front one here, unfortunately the brake rotor shield is a little smaller, so we're going to actually have to run two little adapters to space it out. So I'm just going to throw these up here and just get a quick little measurement so I can get these holes drilled, and then we'll get the last one drilled whenever we bolt them to the top. Alright, so now we're just gonna put these brackets on. There's two reasons we like to use aluminum. It drills really easily and it doesn't rust. Alright, now I'm going to tighten these up right before I mark the holes. We didn't actually drill the holes yet, so now we can just pierce right through, and we'll drill both holes at the same time. All right, and I'm just gonna start over here. You're going to want to be really careful, especially on these trucks that have powder coat. Force it through. And then, as always, we're just going to hit this with just a little paint. You know, obviously this isn't the color, but just want to make sure we don't get any rusting. Alright, now that we got the hardware in there, we'll just come behind it and tighten it up real quick. Boom. And then while we're here, if we want, we can just go ahead and bend this bracket on back. And then we are ready to start putting it back together.
All right, next step, get the rotor and caliper back on in the front. You see brackets are already all tightened down. Now next, just slide it through. Which is usually the most pain part, but a little bit shimmy, get it in. And kind of just walk it back now. Does it need to go on the outside or in? Nope, perfect.
Just need the
caliper bolts down here.
push it in.
Alright, on the top.
On these newer GMs, they got 4 bolts per caliper on the fronts.
Alright, I'm gonna spray some WD-40 just around here while he torques those.
Now we're just going to torque these down to spec.
next we're gonna be running the wires. Now this is not the extension wires, this is the wires that you get in the kit. Obviously you see you're gonna have your lead that's coming right off from here to the wheel light. You're gonna take your plug and play side, plugs quick and easy, right in. As you can see, you got that gasket there to seal it, and you're gonna screw it right into place. Taking some zip ties, you're gonna go ahead and run it to your closest wire. Now make sure everything is out of the way, and it's something that will move with the spindle whenever you're turning too. So this is gonna be his wheel speed monitor, so we're gonna run it with this. And if you guys are ever wondering too, if you don't want to buy with extensions, it's just a negative and a positive, so you can extend them yourself by just snipping them, but we require you to use solder sticks, heat shrink, and all that. If you're just doing them quick and easy, you're probably going to void the warranty on them. Also, customer does have old wiring. We are not going to touch the old wiring just because there's other stuff involved, star lights, other rock lights, other lights like that too, and I don't want to be responsible if something else goes out. So we are going to leave it in place for now, and if customer wants to upgrade it in the future, we can run all those out. So now we'll go through and put some of these away, and we will continue to run this up the truck into the engine bay and connect it to our module.
All right, we got the wheel back on. We're just gonna now torque it down to spec. We're all good.
All right, now we're gonna get to the back. Back's pretty simple and easy. Obviously you're gonna wanna find your closest point. Make sure it's not rubbing or anything in here. So like I said, we're gonna go off his, looks like this is gonna be the ABS sensor. So we'll go ahead and attach it to this. If I can get the zip tie through. All right. And we'll keep running it down, making sure to stay with the wire. Going up this way and follow the brake line, and then we are going to run it directly up the truck. Keep on going up. Now you can follow any line you want. Obviously, your best bet's going to be to go with the bigger line. So instead of running it on the brake lines, we're going to run it on all the wires that run to all his other stuff in the back. Therefore, it makes it a little cleaner, and it doesn't make it look like the brake lines are all bulky. Alright, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to get this side ran up, and then what we're going to do is run it all the way up and down to the truck and to the engine bay, and therefore we'll connect it right into the module. Now, if you did go with the extension kit, this is where the extensions are going to be needed in the back. If you don't, you're going to have to cut the wire. It's just a negative and a positive, so you can splice into it your wiring too if you're good at wiring, and then extend it to the truck. But we are going to go ahead and attach the extensions, get it to the front of the truck, and plug it into the module.
All right, now we got the module just kind of zip tied up in here. We got some sticky tabs and some zip ties just to hold the main module down. All the wires are nice and just tucked back in here, and then the main power wire just goes directly to the battery, and then it's also grounded to the battery So it's gonna make sure every time, or whenever you wanna turn this on, even if the truck is off, the module always has power. And then the fuse is very easily to access, just in case there's gonna be any issues later down the road. But as long as you install everything correctly, you should never have a problem.
All right, guys, we just finished this install up for Eddie's truck.
Yes, sir.
Can't complain.
No complaints at all. This thing's bright, man. We gonna shine bright. We're in there now.
Yes, sir. You know it. Catch us at next show. This will be in our booth in February 28th. So if you're looking to come check it out, stop by the booth, come pick up some wheel lights, come hang out. We'll be around. But on to the next install.